Hello, my dear gardening friends. Now is almost the middle of November and our gardens are slowly moving into its dormant stage. Although when I look outside, everything is green, we have very warm temperatures and our plants are not even thinking to go into dormancy. So those of you who are asking questions about roses, when to put them to sleep and start protecting them from cold weather, if you live in my area and you're experiencing warm weather, don't do it yet. We're waiting for first good frosts to start winter protect our roses. But we are discussing in this video a very interesting topic to me, books about gardening. And my way of discovering great books is I go around the local libraries and I go to their garden section and I look through all the books. I carry home probably 15-20 of them and I read them, and if I find some books really wonderful which I want to have in my collection, I go ahead and I buy them used online. So today in this video I want to share with you 3 latest additions to my gardening library at home, and what is the best way to enjoy those books. I would say is the winter time when it's cold outside and we are ready to dream our next season in the gardens. We are ready to think about plants, how we are going to organize our gardens, and the best way it is to do with a great garden book and a cup of wonderful tea. So the first book which I want to show you, which I discovered fairly recently, would be The Art of French Vegetable Gardening. Very picturesque book. It is written by Louisa Jones, and this book focuses on running vegetable gardens as very picturesque spaces. Louisa Jones is saying that French are famous for doing it. French probably lose a little bit to British people in the way they run flower gardens, but they are champions in running vegetable gardens, the way that you can come in and enjoy the combination of vegetables and flowers, wines, perennials and beans growing all together, forming this beautiful functional space which can be also enjoyed. I took this book on vacation with me and I had sheer joy just looking through the beautifully pictured pages. They are wonderful pictures, just the pictures alone will inspire you. It's just a delightful read, inspirational read, I would say. One thing I want to show you in this book. Look at this, just look at this picture. How well those stones are organized. And those stones are dipped into cement, I believe. And look, anybody can do them. As long as you acquire those stones, combine them with bricks, look how well that area is organized. I like this design. I probably will remember it, will try to remember. Well, I have this book now, so I don't need to remember. This book can always serve me as a reference book. And I will try to implement it in my garden somewhere. I don't know where, but it's a very interesting design. Second book, which I want to show you, is this book, invaluable book for rosarians. And this book is written by Peter Kukilielski. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And Peter did a lot of work in creating and working in the process of creation roses which are very disease resistant and hardy, trouble-free to grow in our gardens. Generally, the movement right now in rose breeding is towards high disease resistance. Nobody wants to spray their roses, right? And to create roses which would be as any other disease-resistant perennials, blooming carefree in our gardens. So he created this wonderful book where he is talking about 100 disease-free varieties. And he gives you the name of the rose. He rates every rose on the account of resistance, of fragrance, number of blooms and overall rating. And all these 150 varieties of roses he recommends. He grew them himself in his garden or in New York Botanical Garden, Rose Garden. And it is just a delight to read. Pictures are beautiful, well representing the rose, and I thoroughly enjoy this book. So again, roses without chemicals. And the third one is not about roses. It is a famous book about trees and shrubs, Durr's Hardy Trees and Shrubs by Michael Durr. And this book is classic among people who are fond of nature and trees and gardens. And why this book attracts me? Because Mr. Durr approaches different plants in a very refreshing way. He talks about plants very personally, and he's not afraid to tell you about bad sides of the plant. For example, I want to quote him from this book about the plant which I have in my garden, and it is honeysuckle. Just listen to this, how Mr. Durr talks about honeysuckles as a family of plants. Honeysuckles are like sheep. There are too many of them, they all look alike, and they are rather pedestrian. People may argue the validity of this statement, and to be sure, honeysuckles are durable, adaptable, and quite serviceable shrubs, but like privet, they offer a sameness, but does not inspire. Oh my gosh, when I was ready to buy honeysuckle, and if I would read this statement, I wouldn't buy honeysuckle. But that's the beauty of Michael Durr. He created a book where he talks very personally about plants. You can see that he has a connection with plants. He knows his plants very well, and he writes about them very personal, which I find that personal knowledge of plants, I find there is a lack of it on the internet when you go on a website to find out about plants. They very often give you the zone, planting zone, heat zone, sun requirements, water requirements, and that's it. But there's no personal knowledge of that plant. So this is a book, very interesting read. I highly recommend it. It's just a wonderful read about different shrubs and trees. And pictures are very accurate. It's a huge collection of all sorts of shrubs, and if you want to have a bigger look at something you want to buy, you're welcome to consult this book. The cold days of winter are coming, and I would love to know what your favorite book about gardening is. There are so many of them, and I'm sure many of you have their favorites. So you're welcome to share your books under this video, and let's learn from each other. Happy gardening, and I will see you next time.